Hi, this is Andy on my channel, West Valley 411. In this video, we're going to be talking about some techniques to soft wash your house. Now, it took me 10 hours to soft wash my house because I used 9 gallons of sodium hypochlorite at a 4-to-1 ratio, which means I filled my 1-gallon pump sprayer 36 times. And actually, some of the ratios were more like 5-to-1. So I ultimately filled this over 50 times during the day. So my message to you is plan for a long day. I wasn't just spraying it to get rid of moss and mildew on one side. I'm going to be painting the house, so I had to get top to bottom, eaves, chimney, covered patio, the whole works, and that's the reason that it took so long. And actually, before I tell you about the formulation, it was really like, because I used soap as part of the mixture, it's kind of like the Karate Kid, you know? It's like spray on, spray off, spray on, spray off. And because you're using soap, there's bubbles. I had to use my garden hose quite a bit throughout the whole day to thoroughly get that off the side of my house, which is all stucco. So that's the reason that it took so long. And again, my message to you is just plan for a long day. Now, I bought my sodium hypochlorite at Walmart. It's $5.49 a gallon, which is the cheapest that you're going to find anywhere. In fact, probably about 5 years ago, I was wandering through Walmart trying to get some household bleach, and they were out of one brand that was more concentrated. I looked at the Clorox, that seemed expensive. I looked at the generic brand. The percentage of sodium hypochlorite in the containers were different, so it was kind of hard to compare price to concentration. And then I wandered over to the pool area, to the garden area, because I needed to get some snail and slug killer for part of my garden. And I happened upon this Pool Essentials pool chlorine, and I looked at it. It is 10%. So if you dilute this twice, it goes from 10% concentration, cut it in half, 5%, cut that in half, and you get 2.5%, which is what I used for my house, which is a 4-to-1 ratio. Now, that mix is essentially about a quart per gallon to get to a 4-to-1 ratio. And on some of the sides, it was about half that again, or actually half twice. So it goes from 2.5 to 1.25 to about 0.625, which is about a cup. So you really have to decide and experiment what concentration you need, because it depends how severe your moss and mold problem is on the side. Now, mine really wasn't bad at all. I live in California. It's a pretty dry climate, but we do get some pretty bad moss up on the roof on the north side of the house. So you're going to want to spray it and then just kind of observe, you know, how it's reacting. Leave it on for about 15 minutes and then come back and spray it off or apply more chlorine. Now, you can imagine using this 1-gallon pump sprayer. It's kind of like peeing on your house, right? Or actually, it's kind of like half a pee. It takes a long time to cover the areas. So again, my message is just plan on all day. This is a sprayer that I got also at Walmart. It's I've used it for other things around the house, and it's like 10 bucks or so. Pretty good value. It's got a pressure release valve here, but there's a lot of, you know, screwing, unscrewing, pumping, keeping the thing going. Now, my technique really wasn't that good at the beginning of the day, because I would pour in the bleach, I'd put in the soap, and then I'd get the garden hose and spray inside the pump spray, which makes a lot of bubbles. And so I was like trying to get the bubbles out of the way. Sometimes I'd put the soap in first, and then the water, and then the bleach, and it just sort of got out of control. I think it took me, that probably added about another, I don't know, half hour or so to my day. So after a couple hours, I figured out a more efficient way to do it. What I did was pour water in this 2-gallon bucket, really only using 3/4 or so of a gallon at a time. I would pour the bleach in here first, and then the soap, and then pour water from the bucket into the pump sprayer. No bubbles. It was really efficient. Kept turning that around, and then if you have someone to help you, obviously it goes a lot faster. So that formulation is basically water, sodium hypochlorite, and about 1.5 tablespoons of soap. You know, this is the cheapest that you can find. It's Ajax. I think it was, this is probably $3 or $4. And, you know, your house is pretty dirty. I mean, the wind's blowing dust, there's bugs, there's spiders, all kinds of stuff that you need to get off, especially if you're going to paint. And that's really the reason. I was very, very thorough on all parts of the house. Had to get the ladder out, climb up, do all 4 sides of my chimney. That took a while. This spray reached about probably 20 feet if you really have it pumped up a lot. So you can kind of go a long ways. Okay, so now let's talk about clothing and safety. So this used to be my blue t-shirt, but as you can see, after a day, it turns into a white t-shirt because it's bleached. Now, I did wear goggles and an N95 mask, and I also had this hooded hat so that, you know, the drippings didn't come down onto my neck, but obviously it covers your clothes. And I actually got sick because at the end of the day, I got kind of careless. I was walking underneath the sprayed on solution onto the house as it was dripping off, especially under the eaves. It got dark and I was in a hurry, and I was breathing in a lot of the bleach. So it is toxic. It can cause respiratory problems. I was coughing a lot that night, and I only got about 2 hours of sleep because I couldn't lay flat. So I would suggest that if you do this professionally, or if you even do it more often, get yourself a 3M respirator. They're like $30 at Home Depot. Now they do come with different cartridges. This NIOSH cartridge is a 6001, which is only good for what's called VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. And that's like turpentine, gasoline, toluene, hexane, you know, things that have a lot of petroleum kind of products in it. It's a charcoal filter, and I've used this for other projects that you can see on my channel, like refinishing my solid oak front door. And you have to invest in a respirator for that. Now, the 6001 is not good for chlorine or sodium hypochlorite. You have to get the 6003 cartridge, which is good for chlorine-based products. So please invest in it. If you breathe chlorine long-term, you need to protect yourself. So do yourself a favor and spend a little money and do that. You know, it looks a little strange, like, you know, you're from, you know, the hazardous industrial clinic coming out to take care of a house, but, you know, you got to protect your health. Okay, so we covered everything here, your protection, your health, the formulation. Now let's go outside and take a look at the areas that were sprayed and why it took so long. And then we'll cover a couple other things, and then we'll wrap up. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. The best is yet to come. All right, let's take our sprayer and go outside. I filled it up about 3/4 so you can get a sense of what the spray is going to look like with the amount of pressure that we put in it. But first, let's take a look at the Pool Essentials at the label. There you can see the active ingredient, sodium hypochlorite, 10%, and then other ingredients, 90%, which is basically water. So, kills algae and bacteria, which is really what we're looking for. All right, we're going to spray the fence so you can see how much water I put on it, because if I spray the stucco, especially in the shade, you're not going to really be able to see what it looks like. So let's tighten the top, bring it up. Oh, let me turn that off. Okay, this handle has a lock, so you don't have to keep pressing down the entire time you're spraying. You just push it toward the handle and slide forward. So there's our spray. That's what it looks like. And you don't want to just go that fast. You don't want to just leave a streak like that because you're not really effective in soaking everything. So that's kind of the big picture here. We'll spray it up here. See how it runs down? That's really what you're looking for. And this is just plain water. Then you can adjust the strength by pressing down gradually on the handle. You can open it up a little bit, but then you don't get as much of a direct spray. You can see here that's going probably about 10 feet, and there's a little puddle that's developed on the other end, and that's really how I did my chimney. All right, let's take a quick walk around the other side. You can see why it takes so much time. This is a really long side of the house, and there's quite a bit to do. Sprinklers were on. It's a little wet. Okay, here's the high point of the house. It's probably about 18 feet. And when you're up on the ladder spraying under the eaves, that's when you get the drips from the solution, because you got to do both faces of the truss or the fascia board. You've got sort of this side, if you can see this one right here. You've got that side, and then you've got this side. So you've got to get the solution on it, and then you also have to spray it off with the hose. Now, the hose I can do from ground level, but obviously there's the back side of that fascia board right here, and you want to get solution on and off, and that's where, look, we're standing right underneath the eave. All right, around the other side, same thing over here, especially in areas like this corner. You're going to be up underneath there and you're just going to get wet, so that's why I use the hooded hat. Let's take a look up on the roof. This is where the real moss problem and issue is. And this is where a pressure sprayer really comes in handy, because you need to work off a lot of this moss. I did spray a little bit over in this area, and you can see it's hard to tell if it really had any effect. That really needs to be mechanically taken off. You can see how happy all this moss is. It's nice and yellow and growing, especially this time of year. It's a lot cooler, and this is the north side. And there's the sun. All right. I hope that helps. Again, plan for a long day, get some help, work on your efficiency. Usually I'm pretty good about my productivity. I took no breaks. I only drank like a cup of water during the day. Didn't take a lunch. I worked, as I mentioned, 10 hours throughout the day. So hope this is helpful. Post any questions. Be happy to help. And if you have more tips, let us all know. Thank you for watching.